How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Riley here. And today, you guys, yet again, I am bringing you all another brand new NBA video right here on my channel. Now, today, you guys, we're coming at you with something brand new. Yes, something that I have not done here before. And today, we are actually going to be going through each and every team and finding the most efficient or best three-point shooter for the entire team in this last season. Now, you guys, I was going through stat sheets trying to find an idea to come up with for a new video for you guys. And you guys, when looking through this specific stat category, I came across a couple names that actually really surprised me. Like, yeah, of course, some are going to be obvious. Some are going to be ones that you guys will know that are consistent three-point shooters. But there are some names in this list that are just going to completely shock you and be like, wow, there is no way that this is accurate. But before we hop into the video, you guys, I just want to point out that if you guys are brand new viewers to the channel, or you guys are coming from a previous video and you have not done this yet, please, I'm highly encouraging each and every one of you guys to stop this video right now. Like, pause me this instant and make sure to go down below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I always say this, you guys, trust me, you're not going to regret doing this. Number one, it's free. Number two, it's easy. And the third and final one, you guys get my content that much faster than just checking my channel every now and then. Also, while you're down there, you guys, make sure to hit that push notification bell. That way you guys get updates instantly when I post a new video. So yes, ultimately, you guys, it's a win-win-win in this situation, and there's no reason why you shouldn't do this. So for any of you guys who do this for me, I really do appreciate it. I love you guys, and you know this. But if you don't, that's fine. And without further ado, let's jump into the best or most efficient three-point shooter for each and every team in the 2019 NBA season. All right, you guys, for the first one, we are just going to start with the most obvious team out of all 30, and it is the Golden State Warriors, who were led by Steph and Curry this year, who shot a very consistent 44% from behind the arc this year. I just wanted to get the Warriors out of the way right away. Everyone knew that this one was coming. But actually, even with shooting 44%, Steph Curry barely beat out Quinn Cook, who actually shot 40% from three this year. But yeah, I was not expecting that, but Quinn Cook actually did take second, so that's the most surprising part of the Warriors. Now, moving on to the Los Angeles Lakers, you guys, we have the first surprise of the video. And the leader of the Los Angeles Lakers in three-point shooting this year was none other than Alex Caruso. Yeah, you guys, this is not a joke. I'm being dead serious in this. He actually shot 48% from behind the three-point line this year, and he easily won this title on his team, beating out the person that took second by 11%. Moving on to the Bulls, you guys, we have another surprise in Antonio Blakeney leading this team in outside shooting at 40% for the 2019 season. Yeah, another one that I was completely not expecting, and it's only going to get more and more weird from here, you guys. I promise you that. Like, yeah, we're going to see some more obvious ones, but there are a lot of names on this list that you will not think of. I am telling you. On to the Utah Jazz, we have Thabo Sefolosha, and I know that a lot of people probably honestly thought that he was going to be the top one for the Jazz. He is still a pretty consistent shooter from the outside, as he put up 44% from behind the three-point line this year and was actually very accurate and very helpful for the Jazz. Now, moving on to the Clippers, we have Danilo Gallinari, who actually still shot a consistent 43% from behind the arc, which honestly helped this Clippers team profoundly, making a playoff run and being able to give the Warriors the biggest challenge out of any team, honestly. But yeah, Danilo Gallinari has always been a consistent three-point shooter, and he obviously continued it in this season. Now, moving on to the Rockets, this one is going to be a shock for everyone. I already know it, because considering who is on the Rockets roster, this is probably the last person you would expect to be the leader as the most consistent three-point shooter for this team, and it is Daniel House. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either when I saw it. I'm being honest here. He shot an efficient 42% from three this season, beating out PJ Tucker, who took second place in this team actually pretty easily. But yeah, like I said before, you guys, this countdown is only getting better. Stick around for it. Now, moving on to the Hawks, I know most people will probably jump the gun right away and say that it was going to be Trae Young, but we did see Trae Young in his rookie year kind of being the leader of the team, honestly, taking an absurd amount of threes this year, which pretty decently lowered his percentage. And for the Hawks, we have Taurean Prince, who led the team as the most efficient three-point shooter with a solid 39% from behind the arc. I also do want to point out that he took first place just by 0.001% in front of Vince Carter. So Vince Carter was actually almost the most efficient three-point shooter on this team at the age of 42. I just want to point that out right now for anyone still watching. Moving on to the Nets, you guys shouldn't have even thought about this one for a split second. Should have already known who I was going to get at for the Nets, and it is obviously Joe Harris, who shot a stunning 47% from behind the arc this season. And in playing 76 games and shooting the amount of threes that he did for this season, that is absolutely absurd. Joe Harris is a stone cold killer. He is a huge asset to that team. Moving on to the Spurs, for this one, we have honestly another pretty surprising name that I was not expecting, and we have Dante Cunningham, who shot almost 50% from behind the three-point line. He did actually shoot 46% from behind the arc, just to point that out, and he actually beat out Berton for the most efficient three-point shooter on this Spurs team. And honestly, I did not realize that Dante Cunningham was this accurate from the outside. Onto the Heat, you guys, we have another obvious one that some of you were probably expecting. I don't know, maybe you were or maybe you weren't, but we have Dion Waiters for the Heat, who did shoot 38% from behind the arc this year, and he actually barely got this title just by beating out Justice Winslow by only 0.2%. So they were about neck and neck in this case scenario. But regardless of the fact, it still goes to Waiters as the most efficient three-point shooter for the Miami Heat. Now, you guys, moving on to the Cleveland Cavaliers, not to mention Kyle Korver, George Hill, and Nick Stauskas, who all had the top 3 percentages for the Cavs, but were traded away mid-season. The next highest person on this list for Cleveland was actually Channing Frye, who shot a solid 41% from deep this year and actually only beat out the rookie Colin Sexton by 1%. So Colin Sexton actually shot 40% from 3 this year. So you gotta give credit to the old man Channing Frye, and you gotta give credit to the young rookie Colin Sexton for actually putting up these pretty solid numbers. Now, moving on to the Thunder, you guys, I don't know if this is just me, but I was not expecting this one either. Believe me on that. But numbers don't lie. We have Jeremy Grant leading the Thunder as the most efficient three-point shooter at 39% on the dot, which was actually a 0.5% better than Paul George shot. So, I mean, you got to give Jeremy Grant credit where it is due. I honestly did not expect him to get this award at all. But like I said before, you guys, numbers don't lie. Props to Jeremy Grant. Moving on to the Toronto Raptors, you guys, we have another obvious one we can just push out of the way right away. And it is the sharpshooter Danny Green, as we were all probably expecting, as he shot a solid 46% from behind the arc this year and was actually a pretty key role into how successful this team was in the regular season. Now, I'm sure most Raptor fans are probably wishing that this would transition into the postseason, but regardless of the fact, this video is just on the regular season, and for this, he gets the credit as the most efficient three-point scorer for the Toronto Raptors. Now, moving on to the Knicks, you guys, I honestly had no idea who to expect for this one. It was honestly just a complete guess and a toss in the air of what you were going to name off for which player was the most efficient three-point scorer. But for the New York Knicks, it was actually Alonzo Trier, who shot 39% from behind the arc for a very struggling Knicks team. But regardless of the record and how they did this season, Trier was the clear leader in the most efficient three-point scorer, and he gets the credit for this video. Now, for Denver, you guys, again, this is another team that I really did not know who to expect to lead the team, but it was definitely not who I guessed originally, and we have Monte Morris being the leader of the Nuggets. Monte Morris actually shot a very solid 41% from behind the arc, and I did not know he was this consistent from back there. And he actually beat out Malik Beasley just barely, as Malik Beasley shot 40% this year. Now, you guys, on to the Grizzlies. We have another team that I had no idea who to guess. And I'm just going to get straight into it. For the Grizzlies here, we have JaMychal Green leading the squad. Now, I never knew JaMychal Green was this consistent of an outside shooter, but he actually shot 40% from deep this year, which is actually very impressive, and he did not get that much recognition because this Grizzlies team was just kind of under the radar, as they have been in the last couple years. But I mean, who can blame them? They're not very good, and they traded away Marc Gasol this year, and they are clearly in rebuild mode. But regardless of that fact, JaMychal Green was for the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, moving on to the Phoenix Suns, you guys, TJ Warren took home this award as the most consistent three-point shooter. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I was not expecting TJ Warren in the slightest to win this. But you gotta give credit to these people where it is due, as TJ Warren actually shot 43% from behind the arc this year, which is honestly ridiculous. I did not know he was capable of shooting like this at this high of a rate. So yeah, either he has been this consistent for his entire career, or he had one lucky year. I'm not quite sure. But moving on to the Kings, you guys, we have another very obvious one in Buddy Hield. As most of us probably know, Buddy Hield is honestly one of the more efficient and better outside scorers the entire league has to offer, as this year he shot 43% from behind the three-point line, leading his Sacramento Kings team pretty substantially in this stat category. And you got to think about it right now, Sacramento's got to be really happy that they made this trade for Buddy Hield, now that he has developed into the player he is and is a very good candidate for winning most improved player this year. Moving on to the Wizards, which was another team I had no idea who to guess, and it ended up being Bobby Portis, and I thought it was going to be Bradley Beal, if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. But Bobby Portis took home this award, shooting 40% from 3 for the entire year after being traded to Washington from Chicago. So it's nice to see that he made his mark in Washington as much as he could. And like I said before, it actually really surprised me. I had no idea this man was this deadly from deep. The Hornets, yet another team I had no idea who to guess upon. I would have guessed Kemba Walker, but with the insane amount of threes he took this year, it hurt his percentage pretty bad. And we actually have Dwayne Bacon taking home the award for the most efficient outside scorer, shooting 44% from deep. Yeah, I did not know Dwayne Bacon was this capable of shooting this good from outside either, if you're thinking that. But he won it pretty easily over all of his teammates, and that's just something I was not expecting. I'm gonna be honest again. Now, for the 76ers, you guys, the person that took home this stat was honestly someone that I was not expecting in the slightest. I guess like 2 or 3 other people before this man, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm just gonna come straight out and say it. The leader for the most efficient outside scorer for the 76ers was Mike Scott. After being traded to the 76ers from the LA Clippers, he actually shot 41% from 3, and in his time in Philly, and he beat out his entire team pretty easily. He beat out JJ Redick by, I think, 5 or 6%, as JJ Redick took second place out of the entire team, which was my original guess. All right, with the Indiana Pacers, you guys, we have a very obvious one yet again. I told you guys there was going to be a couple ones in this video that were rather obvious, and for the Pacers, it's clearly Bojan Bogdanovic. Bogdanovic has always been a solid outside scorer. Most of us who watch the NBA clearly know this, and this year he shot a solid 43% from deep, and he is a very solid asset to this Pacers team. With the Timberwolves, you guys, we actually have their center being the most consistent outside shooter, and yes, it is Karl Anthony Towns who actually shot 40% from deep this year. I honestly did not expect this kind of efficiency from Cat in the outside. Like, I always knew he was capable of shooting from the outside, but I did not think he was going to be the most efficient one on his entire team. But regardless of that fact, props to you, Cat. You deserve it. That is actually a very impressive stat for also being the big man of your team. Now moving on to the Milwaukee Bucks, you guys, you all know, even with me being a Bucks fan, it was actually still really tough to guess who would be the most consistent three-point shooter for this team, as we saw this team fill up with outside shooters across the entire year. But after thinking about the season that Malcolm Brogdon had with his 50, 40, 90 statistics, he was my original first guess, and he is the one who brought home this achievement, shooting a solid 43% from behind the arc this season for the Bucks. Getting towards the end, you guys, we are now on to the Portland Trail Blazers, and for this one, we actually have a tie, a dead tie between Seth Curry and Myers Leonard, who both shot 45% on the dot from behind the arc for this entire year, which is actually pretty impressive, especially at the end of the year when you dead tie with your teammate for this stat. I also do want to mention, you guys, that for any of you that do remember Steph Curry's statistic from before, Seth Curry actually shot more consistently from behind the arcs than Steph Curry did this year. I know that Steph did take more threes, but I just wanted to point out that stat to any of you guys still watching this video. Moving on to the Magic, you guys, we have DJ Augustine leading the team this year, shooting a solid 42% from behind the arc for the entire year. Again, the Magic were really one of those teams that did not get much recognition, but you got to give props to DJ Augustine for leading this statistic. He was a solid piece to this team, making the playoffs for the first time in quite a while. On to the Pistons, you guys, we have another quite obvious one, at least in my opinion, and it was Luke Kennard, who actually shot a pretty consistent 39% from behind the arc this year. I feel like he's only going up from here. His outside shooting is very consistent. It was straight out of college, and he's going to have a lot to put forward for this Detroit Pistons team going forward. Next up, you guys, with the Celtics, this one was actually kind of a shocker to me. I'm not even going to lie. And it was Kyrie Irving who led the team with 40% from behind the arc for the entire year. Honestly, with how many shots he takes and how he shoots to get hot and shoots to stay hot relatively, I did not think he was going to be leading this team. And with 40%, that's actually very solid. It's better than I expected. And I give props to Kyrie Irving for doing this. This is actually a very solid stat for him. Under the final two, you guys, we have the New Orleans Pelicans now, and it is E'Twaun Moore for this team. And E'Twaun Moore is very underappreciated in my opinion. He did shoot 43% from deep this year, and he's always been a solid piece to that New Orleans Pelicans team that is not talked about much. And it's nice to finally bring him up in this situation, as he deserves to get recognized for this achievement. And on to the final team, you guys, for the Dallas Mavericks. We have maybe the biggest surprise out of anyone we've done so far, and the leader of the Mavericks was Ryan Broekhoff. I'm really hoping I'm saying that name right, but yeah, I'm not kidding. It was Ryan Broekhoff who shot 41% from deep this season. Not even gonna lie, I barely knew who Ryan Broekhoff was before making this video, but yeah, like I said before, you guys, numbers don't lie. Leader of the Mavs, Ryan Broekhoff. Now, all right, you guys, after going through each and every team, which took a very long time, I'm thinking that's gonna mark the end of the video here today. Once again, you guys, I'm really hoping you all did enjoy the video, and if you did in any way, shape, or form, please, you guys, I'm highly encouraging each and every one of you guys to go down below and slap a like on it for me. I always say it, you guys, you know how much the support means. I truly cannot say it enough. Also, while you're down there hitting the like button, make sure to subscribe to never miss another video. I'm coming out with brand new ones every single week. I got a lot of content planned for the future, you guys. You don't want to miss out, I promise you that. But after making that final note, I think that's all I have to say. But once again, I thank you guys so much for watching. I love each and every one of you guys. You all know this. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace!